You the president. You the head honcho. You the ringleader of the group, right?
Yeah, I'm currently president for Emerging 100 Houston.
Okay. Now tell me, like, how long has the organization been in existence?
In existence, so the 100 Black Men has been around for many years, since 50s, 60s, right? But Emerging 100 is kind of like the young professional sector of it. Specifically, we've been in Houston since 2013, and in Atlanta, they started in about 2009, I think.
Okay. So you guys have spawned from the 100, like you said, right?
Correct. So all the same organization, just kind of giving a voice to like the younger generation. If you will. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So you guys are labeled as, like the premier mentoring organization, here in the Houston area, correct?
Correct. So mentoring organization for young Black boys. We do cater to, men, women, or boys and girls, correct? But our specific niche is young Black boys, trying to show them basically what what you can be as a young Black man, or not what you can be, but what we are as well too, right?
Okay. Yeah. Now, Travis, what made you want to get involved with this organization?
Well, I joined the organization in 2016, and I actually went to an interest meeting put on by a good friend of mine who was a part of the organization. So I came in, I saw what the organization was about, the heavy focus on mentoring young Black men and providing positive role models for our community. And from that point, I was just hooked. And I was like, yeah, where do I sign up? Because that's exactly what I want to be about myself, and seeing about how I myself can contribute to this initiative.
Okay. And Chris, what about you?
So I came in by way of St. Louis. So I'm a Houston native, but I lived in St. Louis for a couple of years for work.
Okay.
And I learned about the organization out there and got pinned or inducted, if you will, in early 2015. So it's been, 5 years now? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Man, that's good, man. And, Travis, are you from Houston as well?
Yes, born and raised Houston.
Man, that's powerful, especially the guys, have some guys who were homegrown, bred from right here in the city, giving back to the community from which, you lived in and grew up in, and seeing grow over your time. I'm sure you guys have seen a lot that's happened here and that sort of thing. And what does it mean to you all to do what you're doing for, young Black men, especially given this climate that we're in?
Means everything, to be honest. To just, I don't know. So we mentor a lot of different kids, to be honest. So we've seen some of them that are, quote unquote polished. Some of them that come from areas such as Fifth Ward or things like that just almost have nothing, basically, right? Their only meal they get is when they come into our program. So just to give back and even be a part and listen to their story, and just hearing the fact that they're even hungry to want to have a better life and things like that makes you want to keep going and providing a more positive image, or doing what you can as far as providing resources for them, so that they one day can be, if anything, better than who you are today right now.
Okay. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about where you from, where you grew up in the Houston area. What part of Houston are you from?
Me, Fort Bend.
You're from Fort Bend?
Yeah.
Okay, is that like you say Fort Bend, right? Like, is that Mo City? Like, is that,
not Mo City.
I feel like Fort Bend is like the bougie side of Houston. They be like, they don't really say where they from. I'm from Fort Bend. Like,
It's so big. I mean, if you're from Mo City, you'll say they're gonna rep Mo City, right?
Right.
That's what they're gonna do all day. But collectively, Fort Bend is a big county. So
okay.
I'm on the Sugarland side, kind of like Sugarland, Stafford.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Travis, where'd you grow up?
East side Houston, Channelview.
In Channelview. Okay. All right. Now people gotta ask you, like, what high school you went to, because I'm not even from here, and that's one of the things that, even though I'm not from here, like, people ask you all the time, like, what high school did you go to? So, like, I know there's a big, I've never seen as strong of high school community, especially amongst the alumni. That I've ever seen here. Like, you see these schools, like people that go to Yates and those schools like that. I mean, they got their alumni is like crazy, and like they have like a whole alumni organization, and they really get together and support the school, and and all that kind of stuff. So what school did you guys go to?
Kempner High School. It's in Fort Bend.
Yeah, I went to Channelview High School.
You went to Channelview. Okay, all right, cool.
This is crazy. Like you saw they spoke at the funeral.
Yeah,
The lady went up there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's, you know, it's amazing. Man, listen, and don't talk about nobody from Yates now.
Did you go to Yates? Oh, he looked at me like I would.
Because he know exactly what it is, man. But you know what? So you know, Travis, what about you? What does it mean to you to you know, be a part of such a powerful organization and doing what you guys are doing out here in the community?
Well, to be honest, it gives me great honor. One of the things that I'm very concerned about is about the image of the black male. You know, society tends to portray us in a negative light, and which is not the case. So for me, it's all about changing that narrative to where that we are visible in the community, that, hey, we're not all out here doing bad, and we're not all out here doing things we're not supposed to be doing. There's a significant amount, the majority of us actually are the ones out here that are doing positive things and impacting change.
Right, man. That's powerful. You gonna piggyback on that, Chris?
No. I was just. He's right.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's amazing to see that. And it's a shame that we have to. You know, we had a guest on last week who just talked about how we as African Americans out. You know, a lot of times have to wear an armor. Basically, when we go out into our work day or our lives outside of our homes, you know, we have to wear armor. Really, you know, one from a lot of different perspectives. One, kind of protecting yourself, shielding yourself, or managing certain situations. You don't want to be viewed as the angry black man or woman. You know, then if you do have an issue, how do you go about addressing that issue without coming off the wrong way and all of those things? It's all of the misperceptions that I know people have, and it's great that you guys are you know, doing things to address that. So you talked about some of the programs. What are some of the programs that you guys have in place, and what are you guys doing, you know, to address those things that you're talking about?
Oh man, so many. Most current one is Let's Plug In, and that's basically a program designed for young black boys to have like mental health awareness, right? So having the opportunity to talk to a therapist or a counselor just to get whatever it is off your chest. If that's good, you know, the great, you know, the good, the bad, the ugly, just giving them the opportunity to have the conversation with a therapist and to just vent and talk about whatever it is that's going on in your life. And I think that in the black community, right, you know, we don't like to talk about therapy, and it's a thing that's, you know, kind of like swept under the rug, but it actually is really, really beneficial. So we're trying to just do more so like bringing light to it and showing that, you know, through COVID-19 or whatever it is, like talk about whatever it is, express yourself basically, instead rather than holding everything in.
Now, how, you know, you talk about talking to a therapist, like how, because, you know, that's not something that we do, right? Like, that's definitely I would say a faux pas, maybe a misconception, what have you, that, you know, the way we view, you know, going to a therapist or dealing with that aspect of our lives. How vital is that to us as individuals, as people, and, you know, just being a black man in America? Like, how important is that for us?
Yeah, I think it's vital. There's this perception that, especially in the African American community, is that therapy is not needed. It's like it's a weakness that we go to therapy because there's really something wrong, and that if we go to therapy, it's admitting this wrong. But we need to realize and understand that therapy actually is a benefit. It really helps us to be able to go out and talk to a licensed professional who is trained and able to help us cope with these issues that we're having, because the long term we're able to come to a brighter conclusion and come to a way to better handle ourselves.
You know, that is so true. That is so true, and I think it's so it's imperative that we do that. Like, you know, basically, I'm glad you guys are taking the steps to address those things. I want to take a quick break. We got a caller on the line. Caller, you calling into the Cutting Edge. You're on with the Emerging 100. How are you? Hello, caller. Did we lose him? Or her? Them? Somebody? Hello, caller. Are you there? Sounds like we might have lost them. Hopefully they'll call us back. But if you want to call in, please feel free to call in. You can call us at 281-587-1540. That's 281-587-1540. We're happy to take your calls. Sitting here with the Emerging 100 of Houston, some fabulous brothers doing some great things and leading some of our young men in our communities. I know we just got through talking about health, mental health. And, you know, mental health is definitely so important, especially right now, kind of given this current state that we're in. You know, because, you know, just from the pictures and the depictions that we get, right, every day, for a long time, you wake up so many times throughout the year over the course of the past, you know, I know it's happened a lot, but it seems like it's just been, you know, there's been a lot more attention to it. I know they say that, you know, really that it, you know, racism and police violence and brutality has never died. It's just now being caught on film. You know, so with the advent of technology and the benefit of having cell phones and cameras and all of that stuff, man, we just see it more and more and more now. And I do think it's important for, you know, our young men and even just our men, our mature men, adult men, what have you, to go out and talk and vent and have these conversations, get it off your chest, share, whether it's with somebody else, another man, or, you know, from maybe, you know, another professional, like you said, a mental health professional. I think it's so vital to our success and just being able to make it, because every day we fighting, man. Every day we're fighting. Every day we gotta, you know, like my man was saying before, we gotta carry this armor. You gotta put on this cape. You gotta be Superman. You gotta go out here. Then you have to deal with so many elements that are out of your control, right? Like we can't just go to work and just come home. Like that ain't our day, right?
Well, Al, like you said, for a lot of African Americans, we take on a burden of that. We're not just representing us, we're representing our entire race.
Absolutely.
And that's a lot of pressure sometimes, because you have to step back and be like, hey, I got to handle this situation professionally, because I'm not just representing myself, I'm representing the entire nation. Correct. So it's a lot of pressure. It really is. It really is. And that's something that we deal with on a daily basis, like you said.
How do you think men should handle it? Like, how do we really process it? How do we make it? How do we remain strong like that? What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, so I think in order to remain strong, right, you going to therapy or talking to somebody or being around other like-minded individuals or people that are trying to, you know, have the same, standing up for the same cause as you, right? So for the 100, I love it, right? As much as it gets on my nerves sometimes, because it's literally a brotherhood. It's like family. So we get into it, we argue, we get sick of each other, but we always come back together, right? But being around people like Travis or other individuals within our organization helps me to have those conversations and say, like, look, bro, like, this is what I dealt with today. Have you gone through this? Have you been through this? Or, you know, like what they see is what they'll be. So we have there's tiers to our organization. You have the 100 Black men, you have Emerging 100, and you have Collegiate 100, and then we have, you know, proteges and mentees, right? It's so many different levels and tiers, but having the ability to call somebody that may be in their 50s or 60s that's been through something that you dealt with in, I don't know, corporate America, you can have that conversation. How do I navigate this? How do I get through this? How do I go home and talk to my family, my kids, or my wife, or whoever it is, right? How do I deal with those situations? Or maybe nobody's dealt with it. Maybe you're the first. But at least now you can use that as a conversation to talk to somebody else that's likely going to deal with the same situation, and just kind of, it's almost like the village, right? Just everybody taking care of each other.
So what do you say? Because, you know, in the Black community, you know, it's kind of old school thought, right? Like where we don't really have these type of discussions a lot. You know, the lack of a lot of fathers in our homes and stuff like that. But you know, what this may be viewed as weak, right? Like, as, you know, you weak because you got to have these kind of conversations. You think in this way. I mean, what would your responses be to those who think like that?
I think you're weak for thinking that you don't need to have that conversation. Honestly, you get stronger by talking or expressing yourself. Trying to hold all that in, we all know that doesn't help anything, right? You ball it all up, you know, hold it all in, then one day what happens? You explode. And then you lash out and you do something that you probably didn't want to do in the first place, but because you've been holding all that emotion in and all that trauma or whatever it could be, you know, and you could have easily just released some of that stress by just having a conversation with somebody, and they could have been like, "Hey, bro, like I went through this, like you'll be all right,
Right.
you'll be good."
Right.
Well, and a lot of times it manifests in unhealthy ways, you know, alcoholism, domestic violence, drug use, things of that nature.
you
So
go.
a lot of times those can be prevented if you're able to have that support system early on, to where you don't have to turn to those things to cope with what you're going through.
Right.
Yeah, you know that. I mean, man, that's spot on. Because I mean, it's so often in our community is that the kind of the conversation, like, you know, you're weak or you don't have those conversations a lot, right? I think, you know, nowadays seems like things are trending differently. So where I think, you know, our eyes are a little bit more open to the wholeness of a man, the wholeness of a person, and, you know, a piece of that is our mental health, is your mental stability, is, you know, all of the weight that you're carrying every day, you know, and being able to share that with somebody who you view as a mentor or associate, what have you, just somebody you could bounce that off. I think is, you know, it's definitely important to have in your life, whether it's, you know, friends or, like you said, somebody in business or whatever, man. And it's great to see you guys, you know, doing those type of things. So what are there like, you know, requirements, specifications to be considered for one of the Emerging 100? Like, what is that like? Yeah. Because you know, I want to say something, because I'm almost pretty certain that I applied to be in 100 Black Men before, and I don't know if I didn't hear nothing. I can't remember, man. But what I do know is that I'm not in the group. Right, but I'm just so like, what are some of the, you know, things you guys look for in, especially like the young people in Emerging 100? What are the things that you guys look for those individuals to be a part of it?
You want to take it?
No, you got it, Mr.
So for Emerging 100 specifically in Houston, one of the things that we require is a degree, only just because of the way our natural like flow is, like collegiate 100, Emerging 100, 100 Black Men. But I mean, we're looking for leaders in the community, right? So not someone that just wants to put the 100 on their resume and say, hey, you know, I wear the pin, I'm in the 100, but somebody that's actually looking to give back and mentor young Black boys, and not just, we don't need just worker bees. We need somebody that's able to get up, go in, do the dirty work. You know, we have a lot of fun too. Don't get me wrong. We have nice social events, big parties. It's, you know, it is what it is, and that's only used to help raise more money so we can do more mentoring and more programming, right? But somebody that's willing to just get their feet and hands dirty and go out there and work with the kids, help them do their homework, or show them how to tie a tie, or I mean, just all the different things that you may want to know as a young Black boy that somebody isn't there to teach you. Just going through all those different things, through all the different programs. Even like one of the things, Cracking the Code, that's coming up in a month. But it's basically showing kids how to code, how to. One of the things I did last year in the program was they learned how to make a video game, literally from scratch.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we partnered with Microsoft on that.
Oh, man. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, so many other different things, but.
And also, Al, for our members, a lot of our members come highly recommended by existing members. Yeah. So if you already friends with someone in the organization, that's a big step as far as getting yourself in the organization, because at the end of the day, we have real conversations behind the doors. And if you're not someone that we feel that will represent us well, then you're not what we're looking for. Not to say that happened to you, because we didn't have to.
I mean, I ain't know nobody. I was an transplant here. I didn't know nobody. I was like, well, let me just join this group. I get it.
But I got you. We good now.
Okay, all right. I know some people now, though.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? All right, so my application should go.
Yeah, your application goes to the top.
Okay, all right, cool. We good.
We was at our ball head capacity back then.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I had a limit. Okay, I get it. So now some doors have opened up of opportunity, man. But you know, that is awesome to hear that. You know, especially when you talk about the tech, man, because you know, my one of my loves is in tech. Actually, my company, Social Bevy, is a tech company. So and you know, I have learned a lot about how the lack of you know, tech in our African American communities, both one from a development standpoint in terms of businesses, and companies and people who are in tech, as well as the lack of education for our young people, which is so it's amazing to see you guys do those type of things where you expose them, because I think a lot of times with us it's just about exposure. If the kids never get the exposure to technology, they'll never learn about it, right? Like they never get the opportunity to see what it may look like to see virtual reality or augmented reality, see those things actually happen.
And we're so good at it.
Yeah.
Oh, we're so creative. It's crazy. Yeah.
You know, a lot of the stuff that you see has been created and developed by African Americans. So to not know and jump on that and us relish in that and share that with our young people, man, because especially where the world is headed now. I mean, if you're not really involved in some sort of aspect of technology, you're gonna be left behind unless you got a great trade. Now, I'm not gonna say there's opportunity for trade out here as well, but you're gonna have one of the two. You're gonna have to have a trade that you're good at, or you're gonna have to be in some sort of technology field, doing something, whether it's coding, developing, whatever.
Yeah, but even with your trade, I mean, technology is you can't hide from it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's used in everything, even in your trade. You probably will have to use some type of technology to do whatever it is that you're going to be doing.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Now, do you guys do a lot of stuff with that in terms of mentoring or guidance in particular fields when it comes to the young people that are part of the organization?
Yeah, I mean, we have members that are in, everything. Attorneys, not as many doctors. We're looking for doctors, by the way. But accounting, technology, STEM. So STEAM now, actually, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. But we do. So we don't encourage the kids to go, you have to go to college, you have to do this, because that's not for everybody, right? But we do encourage them to move forward in life. And if that's going to a 4-year university or a community college, or, going to some type of trade school or something like that, but finding, or even entrepreneurship. We actually have been talking a lot more about entrepreneurship, to just being honest, but any of those routes, like figure out exactly what it is that you are passionate about, and let's take that and let's move forward with that, and we can help you, manifest that. So, we have so many entrepreneurs and people in tech, people that turn, you name it, they in the 100, to be honest. Oh, I can call somebody for everything, to be honest. Yeah.
And to piggyback off what Chris is saying, I think our job is to identify talent. And once we identify the talent, we could offer those resources to where we could get that talent to where it's most useful, and to help that person or individual reach their full potential. Okay.
And so you got, and all of the programs and stuff that you put in place are designed to help them, develop that talent more, and then bring it out more and help them reach their goals and what they have in life. Now, what is the message that you're giving right now, primarily to these young African American brothers who seeing this world around them right now, seeing every day, seeing the George Floyd situation, seeing Ahmaud Arbery, and even Rayshard Brooks here recently in Atlanta. What is it? What's the organization doing right now? Communicate not only to maybe the young audience, but just to the membership as a whole. Because I'm sure it's impacting all of us, right? So I know it's impacted all of you all. So what's the message that you guys are getting out right now?
So we've done a couple of things already. So the first thing we did was we held like an internal vent session, if you will, for all the members to kind of just call into a Zoom call privately for just members, and just we called it say it with your chest. Yeah. So just basically
say it with your chest.
Say it with your chest. So any frustration you had, you were able to vent. No judgment. It was a real conversation between real brothers.
Man, that's powerful, because just to be able to do that, like get it out with no judgment, I think that's so freeing. Like that's just that, like, to me, in and of itself, is like feeling like you got weight lifted off your shoulders sometimes by just communicating that and having somebody to listen.
Right.
So was it like a lot of feedback? Was there a lot of dialogue going back and forth? Like, what was that like? If y'all could share, I know it was a private.
We can't get it's too specific, because, like I said, it was a private conversation. But a lot of members were angry with what's going on. We are trying to put together actual change particulars, because a lot of people out here talking about things need to change, but at the end of the day, you ask, well, okay, what exactly needs to change? And they can't give you a solid answer. So from that conversation, once the venting subsided, we entered to talk about, okay, what can we do as an organization to where we're out here making the change that we are preaching about.
That you want to see.
Yes.
So you guys started working on an action plan to actually
That's
start
correct.
making things happen.
Something called Solutions.
Yeah, some real
Which we just had last week.
Okay.
So that led into our solutions panel.
Okay.
It was a program called Solutions, our community discussion basically, but it was a panel of so many different people: attorneys, criminal defense attorneys, somebody that worked in district attorney office, an officer or HPD detective. Sylvester Turner was there. And then also our chairman from the 100 Black Men of America was also part of the panel discussion. But basically it was a panel discussion where there are many different questions that they all got asked, right? And to talk about the current state and what's going on, George Floyd, Black Lives Matter, things like that, right? And just finding ways to develop solutions of how the people can move forward, how our people can move forward as a collective. And then we also allow for people to chime in and ask questions and have them respond and things like that. But definitely talked about protesting rights. What does it mean once you get arrested? How do you interact with the police? And then last but not least, voting was the number one, was the top item as well too.
Well, yeah, man, all of those are important things, and I want to dive into all of that, right as we come back out of this break, because I think it's so important to share that whole idea. One of obviously it's important to vote. Secondly, talking about solutions and things like that, and then I'll also like to know just kind of as things has the different steps as that the organization has taken as things have unfolded. It started out with George Floyd. I don't say started. Excuse me when I say that, but I mean
Recent.
Coming out of COVID, let's say that, George Floyd was the prominent situation that happened. And then it went into Ahmaud Arbery, and then, or I think I don't remember the order, man. It's crazy because it happened so much.
I think Arbery was
first.
before.
I think so too. That's why, So, and then the last one with Rashard Brooks. So, be happy. I can't wait to talk some more about it with you guys. I'm glad you guys are here. You're listening to The Cutting Edge right here on Edge Radio. We'll be right back in a few minutes.
This is Dr. Raul Rodriguez.
And this is your girl, Sierra. We want to invite you to join us every Wednesday at 11 a.m. for our new show, Rodriguez Rejuvenation.
I am a board-certified cosmetic surgeon, and each week we will discuss new breakthroughs in medical technology, erectile dysfunction, vaginal rejuvenation, natural breast augmentation with your own fat.
So you're saying that you can take the fat from my belly and increase my breast size?
Exactly. Or your buttocks instead. Learn more at RodriguezRejuvenation.com.
Tune in every Wednesday at 11 a.m. on Edge Radio, where the truth still matters.
This is KGBC, Galveston, Houston, 1540 AM, and K269GS, Pasadena, 101.7 FM.
Been feeling a little edgy lately? Listen to Edge Radio. That'll push you over the top. 1540 AM and 101.7 FM.
America, your children have an amazing superpower. They can help save lives by not having play dates. That's right. By replacing get-togethers with virtual play dates and video chats, they can help slow the evil spread of germs. And if your superheroes do go outside, make sure they continue their superhero wing by staying 6 feet away from others to protect everyone in America land. Find out more at coronavirus.gov. A message from the CDC and the Ad Council.
Injured on the job? For the past 3 decades, Orango Chiropractic Clinic has been treating patients who have been injured on the job in automobiles while playing sports or at home. As a result, the clinic has expert personnel who can help you with your workers' compensation or automobile claim to ensure that you receive the best health care and benefits. We welcome and offer same-day service to most workers' compensation and personal injury cases, and honor many other insurance plans. To find out if yours is among them, simply give us a call at 713-868-6166 and we'll be happy to check for you. If your insurance plan doesn't cover chiropractic care or if you're not presently insured, we offer other payment options that will make seeking treatment easy. Call us for the health of it at 713-868-6166 or for more information, visit us at HoustonChiroClinic.com. 713-868-6166.
Business owners, thought leaders, when you're ready to connect with new customers.
And welcome back. You're listening to The Cutting Edge right here on Edge Radio Network at 1540 AM, 101.7 on your FM dial. You can also check us out at edgeradionetwork.com. We're also streaming on Facebook and YouTube, so feel free to check us out. Feel free to give us a call. We're having a great conversation with some brothers from the Emerging 100 of Houston. You can call us at 281-587-1540. That's 281-587-1540. And again, I'm sitting here with Travis and Chris from Emerging 100. Man, again, I want to thank you guys for coming out and spending some time with us and enlightening us about the things that your organization is doing out here in the community, enlightening us about the programs and stuff that you guys have gotten going and things like given the current state of where we are. I want to dive some more into that just because of where we are. I mean, obviously, it's everything right now. Let's just call it what it is, right? You guys, well, let me ask you, you guys got a lot of sports. You got athletes a part of the organization. Like y'all, I know y'all sports fans.
Oh yeah,
right?
Most definitely. As far as current professional athletes, we don't have any organization. I think the 100 Black Men of Houston may have they still have a honorary member that was part of the Texans.
So we have so what we run into all the time is you have your NFL players, NBA players that technically live here in Houston, but their team may be somewhere else, and so they're only here in the city for 2 months, maybe if even that, and then they have to leave and go back, and so we always run into this issue of the rhythm of how they can actually get involved. So we recently had someone from the NFL reach out. I'm going to forget his name, so I'm not even going to try to say it.
Okay.
But no, we get inquiries all the time. I think we're trying to figure out a way to make them to make it easier for them to be a member rather than they just can't do the exact same thing as us, right? Because they're just not here. Right. So we're going to find some ways.
Well, I'm also I could definitely help in as a former NFL player. It's retired players associations here in the city
Okay.
that have a lot of guys who would love to probably be a part of the organization and help out. I know if not, the organization itself would probably love to get with you guys and do some stuff. So I'll definitely make sure that I help you guys out and make those introductions and plug you in there.
Love that.
Because I'm sure the guys, is something that I'm sure both organizations can do to help benefit the community as a whole, which is what it's all about, right? And I'm sure that we can get that done. But with that in mind, I'm asking all that because, so much of what we see, what's going on in the world today is impacted. And actually, a lot of it kind of started in some realm of sports with Colin Kaepernick, right? Kneeling. And, now it's trickling down more and more with the, which is in a good way, where, the commissioner from the NFL came out making his statement and he did what those players asked him to do in terms of that video. I don't know if you guys saw that, where the players demanded that they say Black Lives Matter and things like that. What, as this thing was kind of unfolding, right? What did the organization do, or what did you do in terms of communication to your members as you guys were watching this kind of unfurl at that time? Like when the NFL came out and said its thing right after George Floyd had been murdered. What kind of, was there any action steps taken by you all? I know you had the opportunity to come out and say it with your chest. You know what I mean? I know they had the opportunity to do that. But what kind of messaging did you send out to the group collectively, or was it like individual calls that you guys made? Like, what did you guys do to kind of keep your organization, letting calmer heads prevail? What did you guys do?
Yes, I mean, we definitely have a lot of different platforms for us to communicate on with our members. So, and we're a pretty transparent organization internally. So definitely allowing people to express themselves internally and within the organization. Encourage people, if you want to go protest, by all means go do that. I mean, I went out for sure and did it myself too, and there's some people that didn't feel comfortable, because of COVID-19, but if you want to go protest, that's fine. Just make sure you're being safe. If you happen to wear something that says the 100 on it, represent us well, things like that, right? But just allowing them to express themselves and go out and be a part of the movement, if you will, in whatever capacity it is they want to. We've had some members that have showed us like what their companies that they work for are doing, like if they're internal, like at EY, we had discussions and things like that as well too. But the program that we have with Solutions with the mayor and the chairman, we also partner with some other organizations like NSB, National Black MBA, Urban League for Young Professionals. So I mean, it's a lot of things that we've been involved in and doing. But I think that there's more that we're still trying to figure out as things are going. It's protesting isn't the end all be all, right? Like you can't just. What just happened is that's not the end of it. Like we talked about the bus boycott that lasted many months. Right.
Absolutely. Because the thing for us lately, the stigma for us is that we get angry about a cause, and then after about 2 or 3 weeks, that thing dissipates and you won't hear no more about it. Nobody's talking about it. It's like it never existed, right? So it's good and it's important that this one, continues on and the fight continues on. We cannot let off the gas. To me, you cannot get your hand off the throat of the injustice, so we got to continue to choke this thing out. That's my analogy. That's exactly where we are, man. And, I want to go back because we just talked about right before the break how the timeline of everything. So Travis, let me ask you, what was your thoughts when you saw the Ahmaud Arbery situation? Really, because I think a lot more attention has been given to everything because of COVID. Because everybody's been at home, because everybody, has to been watching TV or there's only so much Netflix and chilling you could do, right? So everybody's paying attention to the news. So the first time things started kind of, getting some sort of sense of normalcy, it rears its ugly head again, right? And you had a situation with Ahmaud. So what were your thoughts, Travis, when this thing first unfolded for you?
Well, for me, my initial feeling was anger. Because once again, this is not new for us. This is not something that just happened with Mr. Arbery. This is something we've been dealing with for 400 years. And like we touched on earlier, it's only becoming transparent now because of the use of technology. So I have this discussion with people all the time. Like, yeah, we saw this on TV, but for every one we saw on TV, there's hundreds that were not captured that we don't know about. And I think the media plays a very important role because they are pushing this narrative now. But my theory is that once something else pops up that takes the media attention away, will the movement die down as far as not necessarily with us, but with what we're seeing now is that we're seeing races of other people of other races that are joining the fight.
Right.
Will they stay around once the media stop giving attention to this narrative?
Right.
And that's something that I'm concerned about.
So, Chris, okay, now you bring up a great point, because I think that, what the media displays, a lot of people have their arguments or perspectives about, the media showing so much of what has happened. So when you talk about George Floyd, Chris, they kept showing him, the man with his knee on his neck, the Chauvin or whatever his name is, the murderer, with his knee on his neck, right?
Yeah.
Right. So they kept showing it. They kept showing it. Some people would argue that they didn't want to keep seeing that, right? Like, why do they keep showing that? Or, why they're not showing more of the protests, or vice versa? Some people argued it the other way around. What are your thoughts on that kind of whole thing? Like, basically, piggybacking off of what Travis was talking about.
So I got that question in another interview, 2 weeks ago. I personally believe they need to keep showing it. People need to see it. It's ugly. It's not anything that we want to see at all, right? But the more you show it, the more real it becomes, and the more people have to accept it and realize, like, this shit is going, like, this is happening. Like, people are experiencing this. People are being killed for no reason at all, just because maybe there was a whatever it is, right? Misunderstanding, no misunderstanding. You
counterfeit 20,
right? Yeah,
they still haven't came out and said whether it was fake or not.
And I mean, they don't work for the Federal Reserve side of that. That's not their responsibility, their business, right? So, or the FBI. So, I think they have to keep showing it. I mean, it's bad, it's hurtful, and I know the family is probably upset. They don't want to keep seeing, their loved one being, murdered and killed on live TV. But as bad as it is, people have to see it, and if they don't see it, they don't accept the reality for what it is. It's so many different Caucasians, if you will. They say, well, we didn't know this was going on. How are we? Well, I mean, we're showing you now. Now you can see it. Okay, so wake up.
And to your point, Travis, like you was talking about, there are a lot of white people that are joining the fight, joining the cause, and there have been a lot of white people that are saying we didn't know this was going on. Well, my argument to that is that you've heard us complaining. Right, like for so long, when the argument is always, a lot of times you hear white people say, "Why do you always use slavery or inequality or what have you? Why is that always the conversation?" And what would you respond? What would your response be to those individuals who say, whenever we bring up being oppressed for over 400 years, bring up the injustices that have taken place to our people for so long, who have this idea that they don't see color, or it's you can make it, you could be successful, you just button up your tie straight, walk straight, blah blah blah. I saw a post the other day from this one lady that said, if you don't do anything to get in trouble, you won't go to jail. I just thought that was the most ridiculous thing ever. Right. Clearly, she's never walked in a black person's shoes ever in life, right? That was just just so ignorant to say to me. You know what I mean? But that's how people think. Like that's how some people think. So how would you respond to those people, Travis? Like, what would you say to them?
Well, see, Alta, especially with the comment that the lady made, is that she has to understand, and I'm pretty sure she's never been questioned by the police based on the color of her skin. I'm pretty sure everyone sitting in this room and a lot of our listeners can attest to, I've been pulled over for doing absolutely nothing. Just because they suspect that I fit the description of somebody else that they may be looking for, or that, the old saying that if you have 3 or more of us in the car, we have to be up to no good. Like, this is something that I've dealt with personally. That's my one-on-one experience. So it's kind of hard for someone to understand that who's never had to live that. So I pity those people, to be honest with you, because until it really happens to them, they're just never going to get it.
Right.
They're just never going to get it.
Right. You know, I try to share that on some of my social media before this whole thing, which is crazy because before we brought so much attention to where we are right now. You know, being petty a little bit, when we got into the whole COVID situation, I asked on social media that had anybody heard about any police violence or brutality that had happened? Well, no, because everybody was in the house, right? And then the messaging that I got, a response was, why can't we all be human? Why can't we all be, just people? Well, because you know what? My exact response was, when we go back to normal, we ain't gonna be singing Kumbaya and what we're doing right now. It ain't gonna happen, because our normalcy, the normal life that I live as a black man, and the normal life that black women live, is one of what we see our people being beat up in the streets, being killed, being murdered. Breonna Taylor, you can't even sit in your own house. Somebody coming in, not announcing themselves or identifying who they are, shooting, killing you. These are real things for us. And then, right on the beginning, right at when Ahmaud Arbery came out with the situation with him, I said, well, I guess we're back to normal. I said, I guess we're back to, things are starting to get back where it normally is. And, I got some friends who are white, and I love them to death. They're people I grew up with at home. And I know they're not racist or anything like that, but some of them responsible with, man, we can't, this is not normal. This is not, and I'm like, that's because you don't understand what that means. Like, your normal is not my normal. Yeah. My normal is being scared every time I see them red and blue lights behind me. My normal is being scared. I got a son who's driving, terrified that he's driving in the car. My normal is being paranoid when I see a police car.
Yes.
I don't know about y'all, but I tighten up.
It's the exact same thing.
Right? You got make sure
it's funny because
10 and 2.
And then even the car will just be behind you. Like, you don't even have to turn the lights on, and we still turn the radio off and everything.
Exactly. You don't turn your music down. Right. You don't pull your seat up a little bit. You driving
5 miles below the speed limit.
Wait for them to pass you up.
Go around, man. Just go around. And it's such a real thing for us. And they don't, and some people who just, again, they will never see it from our view because they haven't lived it. They haven't experienced that. They don't know what that's like. And, I think it's really sad when you get people who are so ignorant and don't want to hear. I appreciate some of the white people who come out now saying that, man, we need to listen. We need to hear them, because clearly we've been saying this for so long, right? Now y'all want to listen to us because of everything else that has heightened the attention to this particular subject matter. But we've been saying it for the longest time, and I'm glad now, because to be honest with you, in my opinion, while I think it's, and you guys tell me what you think, I think it's a lot that we could do in terms of protesting and, marching, bringing awareness, and all of that. But I also think there's something to be said about those white people who once they gain or understand where we come from, they're the ones that ultimately make the changes in this thing when they, if they feel, they feel like they should, basically, they want to do the right thing. What do y'all think about that?
Yeah, they got to be a part of the movement, just like you had people that were abolitionists or the Underground Railroad. It wasn't Harriet by herself, right?
Right.
There were people,
Absolutely.
there were white people that were helping her to help do those different things and stuff like that. So it has to be a collective. It can't be black people on their own or on our own, just trying to do what we want to do, or all these companies change Aunt Jemima and all this stuff like that.
Yeah. What do you thought? Okay, now, I'm glad you said that. Now, I'm sorry, I got it wrong. Now, I ain't gonna lie. For me, I wasn't aware of the brand of what Aunt Jemima was built on. But I had come to almost appreciate it was somebody black on the bottle. Right. Like, you know what I mean? I kind of felt like the perception was beginning to shift because you just was in a different area. Like, what were y'all take on that? Like, what do you think?
It's a brand that's already been established, and it's kind of like, I don't know, like, we all know it, we all love it. It's good syrup, right? But I'm not a fan of all these different companies and consumer products that are now changing because of whatever it is. because they don't want to offend black people, or we're going to add this and we're going to do that, right? Like, that's okay, you can do that, but that's not changing how I live every day and how I go through life every day with walking around as a black man. Like, I need, okay, you're going to change the product. Yeah, because I buy it. You know, we buy your things, so you want to appeal to me better, but like, that does nothing for changing how the world around us is today, right? So do more than that. That's okay, great. You know, step one. Okay, let's get to step 50. Like, do some other things.
Well, Al, to piggyback off Chris, personally, what I feel strongly about is that, we see these companies that are cutting checks or whatever because it's the politically correct thing to do at this time. But at the end of the day, true change for me comes on these leadership boards, like these CEOs. Like once we start getting in these leadership positions at these companies, that's when I will be satisfied that change will actually become what is actually coming. Because like the old parable used to say, you know, give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day, but teach him how to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. Right. So just giving us a one-time check or just giving us some money is not really changing our position to where we're in better position to help ourselves, to where we can have, you know, the same privileges that people of other races have.
Yeah, man, you guys are hitting it right on the head for me. I mean, Chris, you know, you alluded to people making these changes because they want to appeal to the black dollar, because they know one thing we're gonna do is spend some money. Those are facts, right? We have the largest buying power out of, which is crazy. We make up, you know, less than 30% or maybe less 13% of the country, but have like the largest spending power.
Yeah, make the world go round.
I mean, this is crazy, right? When you think about that. But you know, for that to be the situation, man, and you know, I hope that our listeners, our black people, African Americans, that we won't stop with just accepting these surface level changes that you talked about, and also get deeper to making some changes on the board, get some changes in leadership, changes in the organization, better dealing with, you know, handling and management of black people. All the kids that you hear can't go to school because they got a black hairstyle and stuff like that. Like, all of that has to change. I hope we don't stop with just seeing what we're seeing on TV, man. And again, I want to thank you guys for coming on today, man. It's been a true pleasure. I hope y'all will come back. I would like to take a minute to tell the people about, you know, the other programs you got. What you got coming up right now?
So Cracking the Code is a program we have coming up in July that's teaching kids how to code, basically how to build games, things like that. Black Men Talk Back, we do that twice a year. So we don't know the topic that's going to be this fall. And then we have our gala coming up in December as well, too. Our first gala, actually. Looking forward to it.
Oh, man, sweet deal.
December 4th.
Sweet deal. Now, is this members only? Like, invite? I mean, what's going on? Can we get tickets? What's going on?
So coming soon. We'll release the name of the gala, tickets, all this stuff like that. You can always keep in contact with us or understand what we have going on our Instagram, which is Emerging100HCX, or our website is emerging100HCX.org.
Okay. Now, if they want to join, like, well, somebody want to join right now, what do they need to do? I mean, I done been through it, right? Listen, y'all can say you know Chris and Travis. I'm just telling you that right now. But what do they need to do if they want to try to join the organization?
You want to go ahead?
We do membership intake once a year. We just had our last class of 2020 just crossed about a month ago. So for now, we're recruiting for 2021. So the best way to reach out to get on the radar is we have a contact us link on our website, to where you can submit a bio, short, information about yourself, and say that you're interested in joining, and one of our members will reach out to you and tell you what the next steps are. The main thing is always networking. You know, we're always out, we're always visible, and just because we have a community service project, a lot of times we're open to people just coming up and showing up like, hey, you know, I heard about this. How can I help out? And you don't even have to be a member for that.
Okay. Well, cool, man. Well, cool. Again, I want to thank you, Chris and Travis, for coming on today, man, sharing your knowledge and wealth and talking about your program and the organization, man. It's definitely a powerful thing that you brothers are doing. I give you applause, kudos to you. However I can help, I definitely want to lend a hand. You guys that who are listening out there, feel free to chime in and reach out to the organization you want to join. They have chapters in Atlanta and St. Louis.
St. Louis, that's where I came from.
Yeah. So they got chapters, you know, and it's a growing organization doing amazing work with our young brothers out here in our community. So feel free to come in and be a part of that and join them in their efforts to, you know, help our young men grow, especially in this country that we're growing up in. And I want to thank you guys again. You guys have been listening to The Cutting Edge right here on Edge Radio. We'll be right back tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel, guys. I'm already looking forward to the weekend. I'm sorry. That's just my mind. It's Tuesday, right? But we'll see y'all tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel for our women questioning on Wednesdays. You're listening to Edge Radio. We're gone. Peace.
This is KGBC,